Hello everyone, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks, and I am so happy to be able to show you how to make these beautiful little scrubbies, nylon scrubbies. You know, a lot of people buy the nylon in balls in like Michael's or Joann's or wherever, but for me, I go to a fabric store and I buy the nylon netting that's on a bolt. And I will tell you how I pick that out and how I buy it in this video, in what lengths and how I prepare it for these scrubbies, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you how to make these wonderful little scrubbies. Used in the kitchen, of course, but also used, my husband and his buddies on the block actually always ask me for these. They use them to clean the bugs off their windshield when they're washing their car. They're great for any non-abrasive work that you want to do to remove stuff that's unwanted. It's also great in the shower. Use them as an exfoliator. Just make sure you're not pressing too hard and damaging your skin, of course, but they are excellent for that as well. Many uses for these little scrubbies, and let's have fun making them together. So join me in this tutorial and I will show you what to do. We'll need nylon netting, we'll need a crochet hook, and I'll explain to you the size when you follow this further. And let's get started. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would appreciate that very much. And thank you to all of you friends who have done so already. I appreciate it. Take care, and let's continue on. The first thing that you got to do is go to the fabric store and buy yourself some netting, nylon netting. Okay, they've come in all different colors, but you want to make sure that you feel it and make sure that it's got a roughness to it. Some of the colors are very almost soft feeling, like there is a light pink that that I buy, and I have to double my strands on that one because it's very soft, and I probably won't buy it again. But when you're looking, feel it with your fingers, and if it feels sturdy, it feels almost rough, that's the one that you want to buy. And most colors, I will say, are like that. Okay, so then you buy it in, you get them to cut it off. I buy it in 3 meter lengths, and then you're going to unfold it. I do this up on my kitchen island, but I can't get my camera to reach that height to show you. You're going to unfold it lengthwise, and you're going to unfold it widthwise, okay, all the way. I'm going to pretend that this is the whole bolt, okay? So you're going to unfold it completely lengthwise and widthwise, and then you're going to take that end and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise. Then you're going to fold it in half lengthwise again and again and again until you get it to a very narrow thickness. Now I'm going to go off camera and fold it like that, then I'll be back and show you what I mean, okay? Once you've successfully folded it, I folded it lengthwise 4 times on itself, and so that gave me about this width. Now, if you happen to have another person in your home who can help you fold it, it'll make it so much easier for you to do so. If you have a friend coming over for coffee, say, hey, wait, can you help me fold some of these things before we have coffee? Get it done that way, because I'm telling you, 2 people makes the job just so much easier. So now what I do, so you'll see that I've got this long length of fabric that is folded in the way I need it to be. And I'm going to go to the end here. Now, because it's the end, there's some pieces that are overlapping. It's not perfectly even, so I'm just going to cut off a little end here. I'm going to use this in my work, so that's why I cut it a little bit wider, just so that I can use it. But I'm going to get my even edge there. Now, it's helpful if you put heavy things down the whole length of this now to hold it in place as you're cutting. But then you're going to just cut strips of about 1.5 inches. You don't have to measure it with a tape measure to get it perfect. It's totally not necessary. You just want to eyeball it. Start cutting it down. I'm going to go there and get yourself about 1.5 inch strips. And each of these strips, when it's unfolded, will be 3 meters long. So you get a lot of length out of it, okay? And keep going all the way down until you finished cutting the strips. And if you get some that are a little bit narrower, some that are a little bit wider by mistake, don't panic about that. Don't throw them out. Put them in your bag and you will use them, okay? So keep going. Get your strips cut. And I'll see you back when you're done that. Doesn't that look beautiful? So once you get all your strips cut, you just pick up the big pile and you stick them in a bag and they're ready to go. I have a lot of different colors here because when I find the knitting on sale, I will buy it in the 3 meter. You don't want to go much longer than 3 meters because then it gets all tangled and stuck on stuff when you're working with it. I find 3 meters to be a nice length, or even 2 meters is a good way to go. But I tend to buy a number of different colors, and I have a friend who comes over and she does the same thing. She'll buy for herself too, and then we will fold it together and cut them together and get it done in a morning of coffee, and it's fun. So find a friend, go ahead and do that, and it'll make it a little bit easier to get the pre-work done before you start doing scrubbies. All right, so now that we've got that done, let's begin creating. All right, we're ready to begin our project. So grab yourself a crochet hook. I use a 5mm H hook, but you know what, you can use whatever you're most comfortable with. I would stick around the 5mm, 5.5 or 6mm range. I wouldn't go much bigger than that, and I wouldn't go much smaller than that. So stick within those 3 numbers. And it's a nice size hook for the width that we've chosen for our strips, okay? So we're gonna start with a magic circle, and if you have not, if you don't know how to do a magic circle, then look it up on YouTube and learn it, or slow this down and follow it. Again, I will be getting some crochet lessons up on my site, on my channel, but I haven't done that yet. They will eventually be coming. I'll get to it, but for now, it's hard to teach you using netting, properly teach you, but I'll try my best. You put your end facing you, you go around your fingers and have this going around the back of your fingers. Put your hook under that first strand, grab that second one and pull it up and twist your hook. Okay, then you're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And inside of that magic circle, I'm going to get my strands on the other side of me here. It's coming off on the wrong side. There we go. Inside that magic circle, I am going to do 12 double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook through that loop, that center of that loop, pull up a strand. Then I'm going to yarn over, go through 2. And it's really, the first row, I'm not gonna lie, is the most finicky, okay? Because you're just trying to establish yourself here. Sometimes I will pull this circle a little bit tighter so it's not so hard to, you're not stretching it so far, okay? Then I'm gonna yarn over, go back into that circle, pull up a strand there, go through 2, yarn over and go through another 2. That's 2 double crochets, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 12. Once you get the feel of the netting, it really becomes a quick project to do. You just have to get the feel of how to hold it, because although the technique of holding it is the same as holding yarn, your grasp on it is different because it's slippery and it's a little pointy and it's just a little bit more difficult to work with. But trust me, persevere, because once you get a few of them done, you're going to be hooked, and you'll get these worked up in no problem. Okay, so go ahead and do 12 double crochets. If you have a hard time knowing where your first double crochet is, then take a stitch marker and put it in that first stitch after you've done maybe 2 or 3, so you know where to hook back up when you get to the end. Okay, so continue on till you get 12 double crochets in your magic circle. I have 12 double crochets in my magic circle. I'm going to take that end that I started with, and I'm going to very gently pull it. Okay, you don't want to pull it too hard that it breaks, but you just want to gently give it some tension so that you can close that circle. Okay, and then you can do this after, but I always do it right now, because you're going to have so many of these nylon ends in the center there that it's going to become a little bit harder to do later. So take this end, thread your little needle, and then I make this a little bit bigger, take my hook out. And then I'm going to go around and I'm just going to reinforce this hole, because it tends to open up if you don't. It'll keep slipping and you'll get a bigger hole. And so I just will reinforce it a couple of times, going through, tightening it a little bit as I go. And I don't pick up every stitch like I do on a beanie. I just go here and there and everywhere and just tighten it up. See how it's closed there? This will not slip out. So it's because of its roughness, it'll stay like that. Okay, so that's all I do. And then I go back in, put my hook where I took it out. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch to join. So I'm going to find that first stitch, and if you don't know what it is and you haven't marked it, then count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is my 12th one, but it's fairly easy to find. And you're going to insert your hook, you're going to yarn over, pull it through that loop, then pull it through the other loop on your hook, and that's a slip stitch, okay? So that is our first row. Now we're going to do an increase row. We're going to chain 2. We're going to yarn over, go into that same space, do a double crochet, just what you did in your first row. 1 double crochet, then you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into that same space, you're going to do another one. I sure hope I'm staying on camera here. I'm trying my hardest. Then you're going to do that in the next stitch. You're going to put 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around. So you started with 12 stitches. Now you're going to put 2 in each stitch, which will give you 24 stitches in that row. Okay. This is a pattern that my mother did. She made these scrubbies like this, cutting the netting, for I bet you 50 plus years. She's in her late 70s now, and she used to own a Sears catalog store and a dollar store together in a small Saskatchewan town, and she would make these things in hundreds and put them in her little store, and she sold them all throughout the years. And you know, the neat thing is she kept track from the very beginning, which I haven't done and I wished I would have, but from her very start she kept count of how many she sold, and she has sold thousands of these. Many people asked her for her pattern, how she does it, and she just would never tell them. So I'm going to now expose it on on YouTube, what my mother did to make her thousands and thousands of scrubbies that she sold. Okay, so we're going to put 2 into each stitch. Did I do 2 in that one? No, I just did 1 all the way around till we get to 24. Okay, continue doing that, and I'll see you back when you're done that row. Okay. Okay, I'm not finished the row, but I can see that my yarn end is quickly coming to a close here. So while you've still got at least a foot on there, grab another piece of netting, and what you're going to do is you're just going to grab the 2 ends just like this, put them together, and tie a knot. Just slip it over and pull it through. And yes, you want to leave a long end like that, because that's what you stuff the inside of your scrubby with when it's all closed up. You have all those on the inside, which is why I wanted you to finish this part off at the beginning, because you're going to have a pile of these on the inside, and you'll see as we go along. Okay, so I am going to now finish up my 24 stitches. I was going to go off camera and do it, but now that I had to switch to add a length there, a strip there, I might as well just stay on and finish this with you. Okay. I love this color. It's beautiful. Actually, this color of aqua blue or teal blue or whatever you want to call it, ocean blue, is one of the most popular colors. Now, I stayed on because now you see that knot is right there, okay? And I don't work here and then try to fight with a knot. I will tuck this down under there. I will hold that knot with my finger just like that, and then I'll work this just like it is the end, okay? And so then you have a little end that's loose there, but that gets all tucked in and it sticks to the nylon that's on the inside of there already, and you have no problem. That's how I hide my little knots here, and I work around them. I don't fight with them. I just go over them. I just pull a little bit extra netting and put it into the center there, and then just keep working as though I never saw a knot. Okay, so this is 23 and 24. So row 2 is complete. I'm going to now slip stitch to the first one, insert my hook into the first stitch there, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. Now I've got my my slip stitch to join. Now this is actually where my mother stops. She makes little small scrubbies just like this, and there's going to be a single crochet around 2 pieces, so it actually makes it bigger. But I like to make ones that are I could call them jumbo scrubbies. They're quite a bit bigger, and so I'm going to just add 1 more row. So I'm going to chain 2 for the height of my double crochet. Now, okay, so when you increase on your first row, you're doing 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the next, and 2 double crochets all the way around. On the third row, you're going to do 2 double crochets in that first stitch, in that same stitch that you slip stitch to join. Do 2 double crochets, then you're going to do 1 in the next. Okay, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So essentially that's groupings of 3. You're on row 3, that's groupings of 3. Okay, so 1 and the second one in that same stitch, and then 1 in the next. Okay, all the way around. Oops. So 2 in one stitch and 1 in the next. 2, and 1, all the way around. And you will have 36 stitches at the end of that row, okay? So keep increasing till you get to the end of that row, and if you need to add more strips, which you will, add more strips, then go ahead and do that just as I showed you previously with that other strip, and get all these little ends into the center there. So go ahead and finish that row, and I'll see you back. Coming up at the end here, we finished our row. We're going to slip stitch. Now another way to find out if you haven't used a stitch marker, take that first chain that you pulled on, or the first chain that you made, the chain 2, and pull on it until you see that loop. You see there's a stitch with a loop under it right there. That's your first stitch. That's how you determine where your first stitch is. You're going to yarn over, pull through both loops, and you slip stitch to join. Now you're going to yarn over again and pull it through. Now I just take my hook off then and I pull this through. Depending on how long a strip it is, I might cut it, and by the looks of this one, it's pretty long, so I am going to cut it. I don't need all of that. Keep pulling that through here. Okay, got rid of that, so I'm going to tighten that, and I've got an end there that's about 1 foot long. And there's my first circle. Okay, I've got all these ends that I'm going to tuck inside of there when I sew it together. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a second one, which I've done already, the magic of camera. But you're not going to finish it off by slip stitching to close. Okay, so I've got this one done the same way we did the first one, and we're going to, oops, knocked my camera. So I've got it done the first way we've done the first one, and I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch, but I'm not going to finish it off the same way. I'm going to go right into that there stitch. Then I'm going to pull that, get that out of the way. I'm going to take it to the right, hold it with my finger there. I'm going to grab my other circle. Now you can start where the seam is. I choose to just pick a stitch somewhere along the side. I think it's easier. And I'm going to go underneath one of those stitches, any stitch, okay? Then I'm going to take that end, that working end that I had, I'm going to just bring it across like that. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through that first section, pull it through the next one, and then pull it through the loop that was on my hook, and complete a slip stitch like that, but joining both of them. Then I'm going to chain 1 because we're going to single crochet around our project. Now all these little ends are what we're going to tuck inside as we go along. You can just push them out of the way to begin with, but I chained 1. Now I'm going to go into that same stitch through both layers, and I'm going to single crochet. 1 single crochet just like that. Then I'm going to go into the stitch that's on this front one, into the stitch that's on the back one, the next stitch, and I'm going to single crochet through both of them. Then I'm going to go into the next one. I'm going to do this all the way around. Single crochet all the way around. This is a satisfying part. You're finishing off your project. It's coming together. It looks great. And you're almost done. Okay? So keep doing that. all the way around. And as you go, once you get a few more done, you're gonna just tuck this up into here, just like that, all those loose ends. Keep tucking them. And sew around as you go, okay? Now, don't completely finish it off. Go until you have about 3 stitches left and then see me back, okay? I've come around, I have about 3 or 4 stitches left. I'm going to just make a loop here because I'm going to take my hook out. Because if you are feeling your scrubby, depending on how much end you left when you tied, you might not have enough in there. I don't like a thin scrubby where there doesn't feel like there's any substance to it. So I take some more of my tooling. I get those ends out of the way, my working ends that I'm using. I open up that little hole and I just shove in some tooling strips until I have it the thickness that I want. Now you might think, oh, that's wasting tooling, but it's not. It's making your project look better. It's making your project have better quality to it. People are going to be drawn to it more and want to buy them because there's substance to it. It's not this thin little thing that's going to fall apart in no time. And so I'm going to put one more. I'm liking how that looks, but I'm going to do one more. And then you take it and you put your finger in there and you move it around so that I can just scrunch it up like that. And you move it around so it's even in there and you know, getting around the outside edges and the middle of the circle, okay? I think I typically use about 10 strips per scrubby. Now, that sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because you can make like 8 or 9 scrubbies out of 3 meters of netting if you're cutting the strips about the same thickness that I have taught you to do, okay? I believe I get 8 or 9, maybe even 10 scrubbies out of 3 meters, which when you figure that out, that's a lot, because I sell them individually or in groups of 3. I like that. See, that feels more like a scrubby to me, except for I can see that there's a little bit of less in the corner there, so I'm going to, or in the circle there at that end. So I just play with it so it's evenly distributed, and then once it's all together I play with it even more, and I'll show you that in a second too. But now that we're at the end, we've got it stuffed the way we want it to be, we're coming close. Uh-oh, I stuffed the wrong end. So now you're going to find your end that you need to work with. So grab that out of there, easy to do. It just wanted to sneak in there with all its little friends, I guess, and put the one that's supposed to be in there in the center, okay? And we're going to finish closing up our project. So I'm going to finish going through those last stitches that I have left and single crochet. Come on, don't give me a problem now. There we go. And get that done. Almost at the end. One more. And then I'm going to slip stitch to that first single crochet, just like I do when I have a double crochet. Slip stitch, and then yarn over again and pull it through that last little loop. And finish it off. Now I will cut that, then I'm going to thread it, and I actually take it and I just go between a couple stitches here, just like you normally would if it was yarn, okay? And then from there, put it back on my needle, and I'm going to just poke it in and hide that end. Cut that off, or take, if you have a crochet hook with a rubber end on it, you can take it and just twist it and push that in there. And with this metal one, it doesn't work that way, but get rid of it that way or just cut it off. And then I stretch it out, making sure all that inside is nice and even. Fold it over backwards. This is just what my mother did, so this is what I'm going to do. And then you play with that end that rim, fold it in that way, and then go back to the front. And you've got a beautiful scrubby ready to go and fun to make. So thank you for joining me on this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you make yourself lots of scrubbies and that you have fun doing it. And yeah, it's a fun little project, a very useful thing that everybody loves. And if you do craft fairs or sell your products, you will sell these with no problem. So good luck, have fun, take care, my friends. Happy knitting.